In early December, I decided that I'm going to read or listen to one book per week for the next year. Before I tell you how I'm planning to do this, let me tell you exactly why I want to do this. And no, it's not because some kind of stupid New Year's resolution or because Ty Lopez launched his campaign again. It turns out that I actually love books, and in the past few years, I fell more and more in love with reading and listening to books. More and more often, I prefer to watching TV, listening to music, or even scrolling through social media. In the past couple of years, I managed to overcome my Instagram addiction. In the past few months, I actually quit TikTok, and now the only thing that is left is Facebook. It's close to impossible to completely get rid of a bad habit, and that's why I'm going to try to replace it. And I got this idea from the book The Power of Habit. Each habit, it doesn't matter if it's a good or a bad one, consists of three parts. There is a cue, there is a routine, and also there is a reward. So basically, following the example of Facebook, every time I have 30 minutes, I want to do something, I want to fill my time. So I go on Facebook and I scroll. And that's the actual routine. And then the reward is that I fill up my time and I also got distracted from whatever that I was doing, and I got this dopamine hit. And I want to replace the actual routine with reading or listening to books. So basically, whenever I have 30 minutes, sure, I will need to do something still. And instead of scrolling, I'm going to actually open a book or do something. And at the end of the day, I'm still going to have the same reward. I will still get distracted, but I'll actually learn something new that is interesting and probably useful. Another big reason is that just like last year, this one is shaping to be quite antisocial. So I will have this free time that I usually spend with my family and with my friends, and I want to do something productive with it. So that's why I'm going to read. So when things get back to normal, and I'm pretty sure that will happen at some point, I will be able to have deeper and more meaningful conversations with my friends. That is until they get sick of me of repeating that, oh, I read this in this or that book. The final reason is that I want to challenge myself, but in a completely different way than usual. Whenever I set a goal, I just put all my heart and all my efforts into it. I completely get obsessed and I really want to see results fast. And when this doesn't happen, I kind of get stressed, and overall my level of happiness really drops. And it's funny because the whole point of chasing goals and achieving them is to overall improve your life and just be happier. But in the process, I kind of forget to enjoy the whole thing. And sure, if I achieve a goal, that probably raises my standard of living, or I will feel much better and a little bit happier. But I forget this process in between of reaching the goal and just doing whatever I can. And that's why I want to change things a little bit. Instead of stressing out about this, I want to make sure that I am enjoying every single book that I read and every single week and hour that I spend reading. So, how am I planning to achieve this? Well, I've already been doing it for 7 weeks, and I have to say I'm right on track, but one thing is quite obvious. I have to dedicate time to reading pretty much every single day. And I'm not the fastest reader, although I've been improving, I'm still quite slow. So if I have to just read, I'll probably never be able to achieve this. That's why I'm also going to listen quite a lot of books. And I need to stick to about an average of 9 hours per book. Why is that? Because even if I listen to 1.4 the speed, this means that a book will take me about 6 to 7 hours to complete, which means that pretty much every single day I have to dedicate about an hour to reading or listening. As you can see, this is quite the commitment, and if you combine it with the huge list of books that I want to read, it could be quite stressful. But in order to avoid stress and actually enjoy the process, I have devised a plan. And it's very important for me to stick to the average length of the book. It's not that I'm not going to read longer books, but I just need to keep the average. For example, I recently completed Barack Obama, A Promised Land, which is at 1.5 the speed is like 20 hours of a book. And once I completed it, after that there was another book that I wanted to read, and it was just 90 minutes long. It's called The Prophet, and it's a really nice book. So I'm bringing my average down this way. I will follow this principle for the rest of the year. I have plenty of long books on my list, but I also have plenty of shorter books. So I will just make sure that after a long one, I follow up with a short one because I don't want to be stressed out that I'm falling behind. I just want to really enjoy myself. The same goes with the average of one book per week. You know, some weeks I will probably not have the time to complete a book, but the next week maybe I'll finish 2 books. So I will just make sure to keep the average and not be so focused by Sunday to just complete a single book. In the past few weeks, I tried to read one book while I'm listening another book in a completely different topics, and this hasn't been the best experience, to be honest. I'm jumping from one to the other, and I kind of don't get really immersed in this whole experience, and I don't really appreciate the author, and also it's kind of hard for me to follow the storyline of the whole book. And that's why I decided that it would be probably best to stick to just one book at a time. So once I start one, I will complete it and then I will move to the next one. However, there will be one exception, and these are what I call filler books. So these are books that don't have one central story that runs through the whole book, but they're comprised of many different stories that are not related to each other. A perfect example of a book like this is The Chicken Soup for the Soul. Such kind of books are perfect to be combined with other stuff that you're reading. I actually believe that they're designed for this purpose. It's great whenever you have like 10 or 15 minutes to finish a story, spend some time pondering on it. And I do believe that if you just rush through the book in a few days, you really won't get the same satisfaction from a filler book. Another big part of my plan is to take notes from every book that I complete. First of all, I want to make sure that this way I'm controlling the quality of my reading. I don't want to be just rushing through books just to finish them. I really want to get the essence. And second of all, I want to write down ideas. If I get just one idea from every book that I read this year, that will be money and time well spent. My notes won't be like a summary of the book. There are plenty of summaries pretty much on every single book on the internet. I just want to record stuff that I really enjoyed. It might be just a quote, might be a thought, and I want to be able to go back and review them. And also, guys, if you want me to share them with you, I would love to. And actually, if anyone feels like wants to join me in this challenge, more than welcome. It's not going to be easy, but I think it's going to be a really fun one, and to be honest, I'm quite excited and I'm really already enjoying it, and I'll keep you updated, guys. If you have any recommendations for books, make sure you drop them down in the comments below, and I'm gonna see you in the next one. Ciao.